All right, here we are. I just love this view of the antelope habitat. Now that, the rock work is a little more done, especially around their little drinking pond, it just looks so much more natural, so much more detailed. I really am like loving how this looks. But we're going to jump right in with some building here. Oh yeah, I was still having a hard time with that trough. So this is kind of the section that I talked about in the last video where I just start trying everything back there. Like deleting some of the logs and raising things up and just moving stuff around, smoothing the terrain. I don't know what worked, but something worked. And now they can get to it. Or at least it stopped alerting me that they can't get to it. um, so yeah, and then we will jump right in with building the reindeer habitat. I it's been it's been a lot of work on the reindeer habitat. I kind of like busted out these two, the llama and the antelope, like 2-in-1 area really quickly. And then it took me that same amount of time just to like fine tune the reindeer and really make sure that they had what they needed and enough space, and they still could probably give them more space, and that's something that I can just decide, once we kind of have everything else set. And then I went ahead and decided to also do this like stable build. I knew I wanted to have an indoor viewing area pretty close to the front of the zoo, just because this zoo does get really wet and snowy a lot. So having even a little bit of coverage for the guests is helpful and can really contribute to like their happiness and stuff. So I just had this idea, we could kind of have this area that feels like it's kind of up on a little mountain area, like mountain ledge, to look down on the reindeer. But then as you're coming off of that slope, you come into like their little reindeer ranch. So yeah, that's kind of where I went with this, and that build of just the ranch took a while. It's a pretty detailed build, and like my actual buildings have started becoming way more detailed, and so that takes a while. But we go pretty quickly on the speed builds, so it doesn't take you guys as long to watch it, so that's nice. So here we go, reindeer habitat. Enjoy. taking a little break from our reindeer ranch build to check on our antelopes. I can't remember. Oh, they were running out of. I think there was some fighting going on for alpha status, and then they were running out of hard shelter space. Because look, all of a sudden there's like 8 of them. They start having babies, and then they're just babies everywhere. And the babies grow up really quickly. The antelope just have a pretty short lifespan, and they grow up really quickly. So kind of had to go through here, see who was a good candidate to keep for future breeding and who was a good candidate to release to the wild. And so typically I keep any of the animals that have that little like gold ribbon. They just have better immunity and size, lifespan, that sort of thing. And then, you know, you can kind of tailor your breeding to them in the future. And then you can just be consistently breeding really healthy, you know, whatever the animal is. In this case, antelope. And so, and then you can kind of see here, we're checking the traversable area. The reindeer were showing that they had no hard shelter because they couldn't get in. I don't know if their antlers were like, couldn't fit through the door that I left them. But I had to kind of raise the roof and knock down the walls so that they could actually get in and use their shelter. Sorry, my cat is like rubbing his face on this microphone. He's like, you have real animals to pay attention to, mother. Let's stop this fake animal nonsense. So I'm definitely not going to leave the stables like that with the floating ceiling. That would just be silly. So I definitely wanted, I decided I wanted some snow. So to guarantee that you have snow, you have to put in coolers that can keep the snow cold. So I put in those 2 little coolers, and then we'll just cover that area with snow. Because reindeer habitat has to have snow, right? It has to. It just has to. I think that a lot of our exhibits, as we move on, I am probably going to be incorporating like a snowy mountain, like a rocky snowy area somewhere. But I think that kind of in the middle of this zoo, we'll just have like a full-on mountain. And we can have, you know, that mountain be a part of several different habitats, just to make it look, you know, really natural. That, you know, like I was saying in the stream, one of my favorite zoos is just on a mountain, and we want to make it look like the zoo was built around the mountain, not a mountain was built for the zoo, if that makes sense. Even though it kind of will be, that's not how we want it to look. And I think just having the habitats have to use this sort of mountainous structure is going to make it look really, really natural, and like you would really, you know, see things in real life. So as you can see, have attracted some protesters. I I have a love-hate relationship with the protesters. Obviously, I hate them because you don't want them at the zoo, and they are like usually upset about the animals being stressed, but they for some reason don't think that standing right in front of the animals and shouting is like not gonna stress them out more. But anyway, in this case, it was just kind of a little glitch. Sometimes the animals will walk down or walk into a certain section and then get like stuck almost. In this case, it might have been my fault, but I've also seen it happen like where they get stuck for no reason and it's just a glitch. I think maybe I placed an enrichment item and it automatically adjusted the terrain and then it cut off like their little slope to get up out of the lowest section. So if it's a glitch, you can just move them out and move them back in, and it usually resolves itself. In this case, I did both. I moved one of them, and then I just kind of really fixed the terrain and made sure that there was nothing keeping them from accessing the whole thing. But the part I love about the protesters is everybody in this game speaks in gibberish, but like the protesters just have like some things that they say that crack me up. Like there's this one little gibberish chant that they have that I swear they're saying, "Where'd my hoopty go?" And every time I hear it, I just cannot stop laughing. They're like, "Where'd my hoopty go? Where'd my hoopty go?" Another thing I hear, not the protesters, I'll just have to like come up with a list sometime of all the things that I hear the people in this game say. But one of my favorites is there's a lady and it sounds like she's saying like, "I want to boop the noodle." And I can relate to that when I'm at the zoo. Like, when I go to zoos, I want to boop the noodle. If she's talking about snakes, then I definitely want to boop the noodle. If she's just talking about like all the animals are cute and she loves them and she also loves noodles, so then everything's a noodle because she loves everything in the zoo. Yeah, I also want to boop those noodles. I want to boop the noodles. Like, if she's talking about actual noodles, I'm not on the same page with her. But if she's referring to any of the animals in the zoo, look, there we go. More llamas escaping. Just did that rock wall like one section at a time every time they escaped. And now I think it's finally done. But yeah, like if she's using the word noodle to talk about the animals in the zoo, then I agree. I would also like to boop them. So I'll have to listen and think about some of I know that there's some really, really funny ones. And every time I hear them, I like say them out loud the way that I heard it. Good fun. Great things. I love gibberish. Love it. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up. I don't want to have these things go too terribly long. And as I mentioned, the actual stable part of the build did take quite a bit of time. It was a lot of detail in the building and quite a bit more detail than I am accustomed to doing. So that will be a separate video. Simply just because if I did this in this one, it would be like a 40-minute long video and we don't want that. And I did also do a restaurant in the same style. So we've got these two areas of coverage for the guests. We have more food and drink. Well, we just have drink. I'm waiting on the food. It's coffee and then I want donuts, but I haven't researched the donuts yet. I mean, I don't feel comfortable putting anything else in there because it has to be coffee and donuts, right? It has to be. So we'll wait. We're waiting for the donuts, but right now it's coffee. But that's good. That'll get people moving back towards the reindeer, back towards that area. It gives them coverage. I'm really just hoping that the guests are going to be super happy about all of this. And so far, I think it's working out. And we'll have all that done, and we'll have plenty of money to do something really fun and exciting during the stream. So I will see you next time.